Hello and welcome to Possession Football as we conclude our UEFA Euro 2020 previews for Group B at least, with a look at the group's final side, Russia. They hosted and reached the quarter-finals of the 2018 FIFA World Cup, knocking out 2010 champions Spain along the way, and they came second in their first Nations League group, behind Sweden but ahead of Turkey. They were in qualifying Group I, losing both games to Belgium, but winning every other game against Scotland, Cyprus, Kazakhstan and San Marino. They came second in the Nations League group, behind Hungary, but ahead of Serbia and Turkey. They've started World Cup qualifiers with 2 wins and a loss. They have 2 friendlies before the final tournament starts, away to Poland and home to Bulgaria. In the final tournament, they'll play Denmark in Copenhagen before home games against Belgium and Finland in St. Petersburg. Well, let's have a look at those qualifying results. You see they started with a 3-1 loss to Belgium, but then winning every other game apart from that 4-1 loss at home to Belgium. Some impressive results there, such as 4-0 at home to Scotland, and no real difficulty in qualifying. Their manager is Stanislav Cherchesov, who had a good playing career, but took his first managerial job at FC Kufstein in the Austrian lower leagues. Wacker Tirol came next. He then became sporting director and then manager of Spartak Moscow. A couple years after he left that job, he went to Zhemchuzhina Sochi, rest in peace, before Terek Grozny, who now, of course, Akhmat Grozny. Amkar Perm came next, and then Dinamo Moscow, but he'd finally get his first job when he moved back outside Russia to Legia Warsaw, an Ekstraklasa and Polish Cup double. In 2016, he started managing Russia. So let's have a look at his honours as a player. 4 Soviet and Russian league titles, 1 Soviet Cup, 3 Austrian Bundesligas, and 3 times voted goalkeeper of the year in the Soviet or Russian league. His 2 trophies as a manager was that Polish league and cup double he got at Legia Warsaw. He's picked a 30-man squad. 1 goalie and 3 outfield players will have to be cut before the final tournament. So, 4 goalies, that will become 3, starting with Yuri Dupin, who's been impressive this season and has earned himself a spot in the Russia squad as a backup goalie. Andrei Lunev of Zenit has returned from an injury hit first half of the season and will be on the bench for Russia this campaign. Matvei Safonov is one for the future and probably won't make the final squad. He's Russia's 4th choice goalkeeper at present. Anton Shunin has picked up a knock near the end of the season, but if he's fit, which I think he will be, he'll be Russia's 1st choice goalie at the Euros. Well, we move on to the defenders, of which there are 9. Georgi Zhikia is a starting centre-back for his country. There's no reason that won't be the same in the final tournament. Igor Diveyev is a regular starter for his club. He hasn't yet broken into the Russia team, really, but I think he will make the final squad as a backup player. Roman Yevgenyev, another centre-back, who I think will just squeeze in as another backup. Yuri Zhirkov is a left-back. He doesn't really even get in the Zenit team anymore, but he might be given one last hurrah for his country to start at Euro 2020, and I think that's what will happen. Vyacheslav Karavayev is a rotation player mainly at right-back, 2nd choice there. Fedor Kudryashov is a left-back who can also play at centre-back, and he'll probably get some minutes, maybe playing when Zhirkov tires near the end of the game. Ilya Samoshnikov is a natural left-back. He receives his first call-up, but with 2 left-backs ahead of him, it likely won't translate into a place in the final 26. Andrei Semenov is a regular starter for his country at centre-back, and that will happen again at the Euros. And Mario Fernandez is the starting right-back. Midfielders now, and quite a few players listed as midfielders. Dmitry Barinov is a defensive midfielder. He gets his first call-up since 2019, and he'll probably make the final squad as a more defensive-minded backup. Rifat Zhemaletdinov is an attacking midfielder, and again, having a more attack-minded backup in the middle of the park, so he will be in. Maxim Mukin will just about get in after forcing his way into his club side. A defensive midfielder, mainly. He won't be starting, but I think he will be in the squad. Alexander Golovin of Monaco has had an injury-hit season. He's an attacking midfielder, although he can also play on the wings, and he will be a starting player for his country, one of the few that plays in Europe. Arsene Zakarian is a central midfielder. He's got his first call-up. I doubt he'll get into the final 26, just because of how many central midfielders there are. Daniel Fomin is another backup option who can play mostly as a defensive-minded midfielder. Roman Zobnin is a central midfielder, and he starts for his country, more defensive-minded. And he is a key man. He missed the last international break with injury, but he should get back into the squad. Alexei Ionov used to start on the right wing for his country. Now he's more of a backup. And yes, they have listed wingers as midfielders for some reason. Daler Kuzyaev is a central midfielder who more defensive-minded, and that double pivot alongside Zobnin starts for his country. Andrei Mostovoy is a backup left winger, although he can also play on the right wing or as an attacking midfielder. Magomed Ozdoev is a central midfielder who can also start for his country. Denis Makarov is a right midfielder, getting his first call-up, but there's a lot of wingers in the team, so I'm not sure he'll make the final squad. Alexei Miranchuk, he's been a bit of a utility man for his country this time. Sorry, for his club, and I'm not sure whether he'll be able to get into the starting 11. He probably will, because he's a player that plays for one of the big European teams, but he's made just 4 Serie A starts. Again, he'll probably start, but the fact that he's just mostly been used off the bench means there is a little bit of doubt. Denis Cheryshev has had an injury-hit campaign as well. He's a left winger. Again, he probably will start for his country anyway, despite limited playing time. The forwards, Artem Zyuba, Russian captain, dropped from the November squad in quite interesting circumstances. He was back in March, and he should lead the line for his country. He has 22 goals this season. Anton Zabolotny is the third-choice striker. After he had a period of 2 years away from the national team, broke back in the November squad after what happened to Zuba, and now back in as third-choice goalie as striker. And Alexander Sobolev, 15 goals this season for him. He is the number 2 striker. So I reckon that Safonov, Samoshnikov, Zakarian and Makarov are dropped from the final squad. Russia have an interesting situation with their formation. They used a 4-2-3-1 in the qualifiers, but in they used that in the Nations League as well, until they lost 5-0 to Serbia. And now Cherchishov has been experimenting with a 3-4-2-1 and a 3-3-3-1. However, I still reckon the 4-2-3-1 is the favourite to be selected in the final tournament. Shunin will start in goal. It will be a back four of Fernandez, Semenov, Zhikia, and I think Zhirkov. Now, there is a question about whether Ozdoev will be included, but I think it will be Zobnin and Kuzayev that start, and Ozdoev will be maybe rotated. Again, the more attacking midfielders, Miranchuk, Golovin and Cheryshev, I think will all be included, and Zuba would obviously be the main striker. Well, this was quite a hard one to pick a predicted starting 11 for, and especially because we don't know about the tactics, it'll be one where the friendlies will come in useful, I think. But I hope you learned something about Russia. The next video will be a review of Italy's friendly win against San Marino. They took a 7-0 there. If you want more content, there are previews for all the teams in Group A, as well as Russia's opponents in Group B, Belgium, Finland and Denmark. There will be a preview of the Group C teams next, and hopefully will be stuff for Copa America as well. But I'll see you then.